Hey guys, I think we have audio first try today, but let me know if you don't hear me. Well, apparently you guys, although you are my loyal live stream watchers, you don't count to YouTube because there are 0 people watching this. Oh, so I have had a very hard day, very emotional day. So we are going to be doing some mod therapy. If you guys are tuning in after the live stream, make sure that you enable the live chat by going to the top right and clicking instead of top chat, all chat. That way you can follow along because I'm still getting used to looking at people's questions in chat and responding. So that will help you keep track of things. And if you want notifications for when I start streaming, then you're going to have to click the little bell icon so YouTube will notify you. But with that out of the way, it is good to see all of you guys again. Have any questions before we get started? Looks like we're good to go. So I don't have a lot of time tonight. I'm going to aim for an hour, which is still a pretty decent stream. I can't even sit down that long. We're going to just start putting together REMIEL. I got the heatsink in. We're going to make that work. If it doesn't fit, well, then we're going to make it fit. And really nothing much else. So last time I said I was going to 3D print a bracket for the power supply that was going to bolt in using the existing holes, but my 3D printer is still down. I don't have time. This is actually going to the guy, Edward Chrysler, to take to Quakecon on Monday. So I really have to get just this done, so that's what I'm going to work on. So first things first, I'm going to be cleaning off the CPU from my temporary... Guess I'll unplug everything first. Oh, I forgot how heavy that was. My temporary testing block, which I don't bother to adhere, just to make sure it doesn't overheat while booting. Gotta get my alcohol. This kind of alcohol. Like I first started learning that I heard that somewhere that alcohol was good for removing thermal paste. This was many years ago. I went out and bought some Everclear, and I would use Everclear to remove thermal paste, but that's really expensive. You can get rubbing alcohol for like 79 cents. This is the L9AM4, the L9A, not L9I. It is the AM4 version of Noctua's excellent little cooler. And it does a really good job. In fact, my friend Jay from Tech Everything has reviewed it against the L9i, and apparently it outperforms it slightly. So if there is a CPU cooler that beats the legendary L9i, it is the L9A. But while you can convert it, it's not going to fit on most of the mini ITX motherboards that we use, so it is a futile effort, so to speak. Thank you, Wes. I'm gonna keep trying just for you. And the couple other people that enjoy it. And I enjoy it too, so that's really why I'm doing it. I've already posted, so I get to stick the sticker. I'm not cheating. That makes me feel good. You know, Windfall, if I were to make a cooler, it would be these Noctua coolers. So I would like to make an ultra premium deluxe cooler, but I don't need to because Noctua exists, man. And we're all, of course, excited over at smallformfactor.net for Craig's cooler. He's making a custom high-end one from the ground up that actually is going to kick butt. So I am really hyped for that. But I would like, you know, to make like an all-in-one that's actually good. I ranted about the Fractal Design Kelvin K12 or T12. That's like a really good design. I wish that was in the United States, but there's lawsuits and patents that keep it from being sold here. No, Brian, the brown is that just makes it. Look, it's like the same color as my wallet. I'm gonna make sure I don't show you my driver's license, but it's just beautiful. I love it. I know it doesn't match anything yet, but that's just because I've been lazy and haven't made a computer to match my Noctua fan. So it's good. I'm gonna do it eventually. I'm going to build a system that matches. I'm gonna use beautiful powder coats. I'm gonna use leather. It's gonna be awesome. Maybe some brass. So what did you guys do with the live stream break last night? Well, Windfall, I have to say that beige and green PCB, I'm definitely done with that. Beige computer case, I'll dig that, but green PCB, that never looked good. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, why is it green? I don't understand. I mean, like I was a kid, like 5 years old. I had no idea why motherboards were that brown color or that green color. I thought it really had to do with something to make the computer work. I thought the color did something, but... Ooh, I would love a Not From Concentrate Noctua edition. That would be cool. I don't really know what it would be like. It'd be like a $200 version of the Noctua, and it would come with... I don't know. There'd be anodized aluminum somewhere in it, but not the fan. Maybe the fan, instead of being made of plastic, would be made of anodized aluminum. Hello, Chingy. How you doing, man? Good to see you back. Rod was playing softball with the ladies, or are you just playing men's softball? It was with the ladies, wasn't it, Rod? It's good to see you, by the way, man. It really is good to see you. Sort of. We have to meet up in person and talk tractors. I've already lost track of what I was doing today. We're working on this. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna be lazy. I'm gonna clean this off so next time I grab it, I don't get thermal paste all over my hands. You know how that feels? I think that you guys know that feels. Chingies? Okay, I will try to remember that. I won't remember that. You'll have to keep reminding me, but don't feel bad to remind me, because I already feel bad that I don't remember. Yeah, Windfall, you are so correct. This PC is not going to build itself, no matter how much I look over at it and go, ugh. It shouldn't be too bad. I'm just going to do this extremely lazy, but that's okay. It's already been engineered one time, so we can be a little bit lazy as long as it looks good. I was thinking about actually frosting the back of this, but I'm not quite sure yet. I think I'm going to get this whole thing assembled, then look at it, get you guys' opinion, and then think about frosting, because I really like how it's perfectly clear and then you get this frosted edge. It just like, especially when it's clean, it just looks like it's an edge that's floating there. I'll put it like this for right now. But you see kind of what I'm saying? I thought about frosting it because down here, when I was heating things up, this is actually a more complicated part than it looks because it's beveled to match the rake of the chassis, so to speak. And when I was drilling, I think I got some micro cracks down here, which sucks. But if I frosted it, that would all be hidden. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just frost, like tape this off and just frost the very bottom part. That's probably what I'll do if I decide I want to keep the clear. Why not make the frost to clear fade? I have no idea how to do that. I mean, obviously I would use like a hobby sandblaster, like a airbrush sandblaster, but I don't actually know how to do that. And again, I have to get this done ASAP because it's going away on Monday. So I'd like this to be mostly done, if possible, in the next hour, but I'm spending so much time talking that that's probably not going to happen. All right, let's mount this cooler. That is next order of business. Noctua includes this really, I mean, solid, beefy steel backplate. This is seriously 3mm thick steel. I think it's a little bit excessive. Has some plastic backing on the back, of course, but you are not going to be warping your motherboard with this. What's the deal with the stripped down? Oh, yeah, this was the original SSD that was in it for the mod. I thought it would look way cooler if I just opened it up and then I painted it with a non-conductive paint to start with, primer, which I had to go find, and then I painted it with some silver paint, and then I stuck these copper heatsinks on because they looked cool. But that was the original SSD. I could take it out. In fact, I did take it out. I was like, no, I'm gonna put it back in. It was part of the mod to begin with, and the mod's already done. It's already been done. Really, I'm just restoring it, putting new hardware in it, figuring out how I'm gonna mount this beast. I should like prop. Like, can you guys get the full effect of how big this thing is? It's so big, like when I set it down like right here, it's just solid. It's so heavy, it doesn't want to flip over. It's intensely heavy. Doing a line there. Hey, Dan, man. Look, if you're not going to bother to look up my email address by Googling me, then you don't deserve it. Even with the donation. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. The donation. I got another donation. I gotta like scroll down. Poor Wild West. He's like my biggest donator too. I wish that it shows your avatar, but doesn't show your name. So if I like don't look down when you do it, I miss it. But thank you very much. Thank you for supporting this channel and keeping me live streaming, man. Eventually, I know I keep saying eventually, that's a story of my life. I do want to get a better streaming setup. So I will have a monitor like right in front of me so I can easily read. I don't even have my glasses on right now, so I have to really squint over and look. And it's like a 4K monitor. It's about 5 feet from me. So a laptop would also make a lot of sense, but that's my widow brother. Hi, Mike. How you doing, man? Thank you for the donation. I will take you out if you are up for it. I will take you out with your donation. That's how classy I am. Tom, that is an excellent idea. You suggesting a monitor arm. All of my monitors are on arms. This one's like on an arm, extended out as far as it goes. I just have to move it so I can put it to my desk and move it back a little bit. That's my end goal, my plan for right now. I gotta get my glasses. Yeah, I love Mike's sense of humor. 1 penny, Wes. 1 penny. This is actually not going in as near as straight as the NHL 9i, and it's not cockeyed. We're making good clearance on everything. There's no issues. I wonder why this screw is not going in perfectly straight. I'm not going to torque this. I'm not torquing this down. I'm just kind of seeing what's going on. Really gently, really carefully. I'm going to stop when I start to see the brackets that you bolt the screws to start to bend a little bit. Though remember, we do have this 3mm thick plate, steel plate right here to keep our motherboard from bending. I just wish that I saw these screw heads a little bit flatter. I don't really like how they're cocked a little bit. All right, that one's starting to curve. I thread them in with my fingers. They look perfectly straight on this side, the CPU side. I don't know, but I'm gonna say that was good. Yeah, Tom, I do not want my motherboard to warp. It's already scary enough when ITX motherboards come warped from the factory. I think this Noctua plate actually straightened this board out a little bit. It's ridiculous, it's so beefy. It's also really scary working with Intel chips because the silicon wafers are so thin now that for screw down type CPU coolers, like the only one I actually trust is the Noctua. A lot of other ones use the Noctua's design, but Noctua actually measures their stuff and engineers it so you're not going to break that wafer. But I have broken especially the 6000 and 7000 series chips doing that. Just 2. But it's bad. Usually with all-in-one coolers, because they don't care. They don't design those things at all with springs or anything to keep you from breaking your CPU. They're just like, here's some screws. You're probably going to screw these in with a screwdriver. If you break the CPU, that's on you. Gil Maya, is that how you say your name, man? You ask if you think that the computer plug-in standards will change, because right now, the MiniFit Junior plugs for the 24-pin, there's so many different wires. It's definitely possible. I hope that it gets to be simpler. I really think that MiniBox was innovative with their plug-in unit, and of course now we have companies like Compact Design, HD Plex, and G-Unique making those plug-in units, which is 2 AC or DC lines, going into them. Which greatly simplifies things. And of course, we see motherboards that have power right into the board too. Intel has a wide input standard, which is really awesome. I'd like to see more of that. And I think that will happen as CPUs and GPUs get to be more power efficient. We're not going to be having so many of these breakout plugs. Hey Tyler, thank you for donating again, and of course the large amounts. You are really awesome. It's good to see you. And we'll go out. We're actually Thursday night tonight. We're going out with my mother-in-law and my wife, so I will definitely pick up the tab. Well, and I will say that you did it, so I'll say courtesy of Tyler and Wes and Michael. I don't need to spend all that much. I'll break it up into different visits. That's a good question. Fabio asks if the L9A needs to be in a certain position, and it would definitely be better if I could rotate it, but there's only one way with L9A because the AMD socket, is stretched out, so I can't rotate it. So right now the heat is just gonna blow into the RAM no matter what we do, which is a bummer because actually the one thing that can die on a computer from heat, I say one thing, but like the thing that actually does die, RAM. DRAM is probably the toughest. But NVMe SSD RAM, that can die, and GPU RAM, that dies on. That's in fact the only time I ever had a bad GPU is when the RAM eventually dies on it. So I'm getting too hot. But I actually discovered that with a company I was working with, we were building a lot of streaming devices for a cable company in Canada. I'm not going to mention which one, but it's one of the big ones. And this is when I worked for a different company. And we had these mini ITX motherboards, and the coolers were all designed to dump heat transversely, so into the front heat sink of into the front memory module. And these ran in a very hot environment. So after a while, we would be getting failures, system failures, like after a year. And they started happening like in succession, and like, what is going on? And it was the RAM. So we thought that we bought bad memory, and we did. It was kind of cheap memory. It wasn't very good. We used what was requested. And but what was interesting was only the front modules died. So that's why my theory is, we placed it with a higher quality RAM that I specified, and everything worked great after that. But it goes to show you that I think that RAM is susceptible to overheating. Danny asks how often I plan to do these build streams. I'm enjoying it, so I'm probably gonna keep doing it. I have to get more organized. I gotta find the balance between talking, because that's the fun part, and actually doing work. Because these take up a huge amount of my day, so I just gotta use this as my relaxation chill time and just start working later into the evening, which is fine with me. And Spot asked me when my S4 water cooling mini video is coming. I got 2 videos coming, and they are coming, but it's just a lot of work. All right, I'm actually gonna start working on this. I got this on here. Let's move this over a little bit so you guys can kind of see what's going on. Though I might have to see what's going on. Our motherboard's gonna go like this. And the question is, can we get away with this NF14 fan, or do we have to go with a different plan? Cross your fingers. You know what's really interesting? I got clearance everywhere except for this bottom left corner. What does that mean? That means something is not straight. Got great contact. I see the thermal paste kind of squeezing out slightly around all the edges. And these standoffs are all the same height, of course. But why are we experiencing this? Hello, Dead Pineapple from Finland. Well, this would work, but I'm actually going to go a different route anyway. I'm going to try something that may or may not work. We're using a low wattage CPU. This is a demo rig. It's not a rig that needs to run ridiculously fast or anything like that. It's literally just to turn on and show this graphics card. So we can get away with a little less cooling. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to look cool if I have one. I'm gonna see if I have an unboxed one first, and if not, I will open up a new one of my extra fans. A big box of, I do. And this is, yep, it's the good one. Okie dokie. This is the Scythe, and I can't say this word, Jyuni Giuni Slim. It's a 12 millimeter, 120 millimeter fan. This one is the 19 volt, 0.19 volt version. It spins about 2,000 RPM, and it does a decent job cooling. Now, the problem with using this, of course, is we don't get the beautiful head pressure, or whatever you want to call it, static air pressure from the Noctua bolted right against these fins. So the cooling is going to be worse, but it's going to give us a couple of millimeters, which is nice, and it's going to look really cool, I think, behind this cutout. Spot, I'm not going to show any more pictures of the water-cooled mini build until it is ready. I put too much work into it to show you guys. Now, when I'm ready to show you a sneak peek, I'll show you a sneak peek. This is just to cover the system. It's decoration. All right, now the real question is, am I gonna have to chop the fan up in order for it to clear? Because my audio ports are not cooperating. But I can take a chunk out of the fan right here if I need to, and I think it will seat. So what I will do, let's move this over about right here. I'm gonna mark that with, you're gonna be good? You're gonna stay? Or are you gonna fall over on camera? Gonna mark where I'm gonna notch out this fan. And then when I cut that out, I should be able to lay this flush against the cooler. And usually I would use power tools, but maybe I'll hang out with you guys and use a hacksaw or something and clean up my mess. Oops, I got Sharpie on my glass. I know how to get rid of that though, so I'm not too worried. All right, next would be the power supply and the cable management for the power supply. I'm wondering if I should put the power supply in first or the cables. Not solid on that. Let's see what the comments are talking about. Is there any way to add a 120 millimeter fan on the Noctua NH-L99? Well, there's a couple different ways. You can go buy a 3D or download a 3D printable 120 millimeters 92 reducer, and that would work. It's not going to work for my particular instance, but that's one of the things I can think of. It is a modular power supply. John, yes, RGB always goes in first. I just don't have any RGB, so that's where I'm confused. I think I'm going to attempt the power supply because that's really on my agenda, is to get that in here. And I'm gonna do this a way that I was told not to by Edward when he asked me to do the build, but we don't have any other options because of time. So I am going to not glue it or epoxy it in. I am going to use ridiculously heavy-duty mounting tape. So if I ever need to get it off, I still won't be able to. But I can say that I'll be able to so he doesn't panic. I was asked, how do I know where to put the power supply if I don't put the cables in first? It's a good question. I have all measured them before. This is like the moment of truth kind of ordeal where we look at my work and we see if I actually did a good job measuring and ordering and getting the cables the right length. Oh man, I'm live streaming this. You guys can be witness to all my failures. So the tape that I'm using, and I have enough of, but just barely, is this mounting tape by 3M. It's the gray tape. This stuff is for serious, so don't use it lightly. My first experience with this was I was building a PC for my dad maybe 10 years ago. Not 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And we had to do some modding to what Lee & Lee, like a console style chassis, like one of the home theater type ones. And there wasn't a way to mount the power supply for some reason. So I got my idea that I'd just buy some double-sided mounting tape. And I found this stuff, I bought it, I put a strip like this big underneath it, thinking, okay, well that doesn't seem like that much in case we need to redo it. No, we could not get it out. And of course I had to take the power supply out because I didn't have it put in there the right way the first time. So that's when I was introduced into using heat guns. And boy, did we have to heat that sucker up because that aluminum Lee & Lee body, oh my goodness. That was crazy. VHB tape is also very, 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 very strong. I have some of that in there. I'm not even going to go there though. I actually want this because it's a little bit, I don't know. I think it's going to be the right thickness and foaminess for my powder coat. What is this? Is this the thing they keep having me sign for? Okay. So you had to sign for this one?
Yeah, she said next time she'll take it to the store and I can take it.
Oh, that'd be really cool. I keep missing the UPS guy, but like not the UPS guy because the UPS guy always comes early, but like this UPS guy. There's like a special UPS guy that Mark Forged uses. So I haven't got my printer back. I don't know even what this is. It's so light. Did they mail me a piece of paper and made me sign for it? Stepper motor pulley? I thought they were going to send me a whole bearing assembly. I don't think that that's the problem. I think that it's the thing holding that. That's the problem. Well, we'll find out later about that. Okie dokie. So we're going to cut this out and we're going to trim it and stick it on my power supply bracket, and then let's do a test run of the power supply before I do that. I gotta get a cable and make sure I can plug that in. Or plug it out. I'm pretty sure Ed has to have a right angle cable. There's no way this would work with a normal cable. Which, as luck would have it, I have one in the office. Okay, so this pretty much has to be flush with the bottom. If it's flush with the bottom, I can stick this in there. Good to know before I permanently fuse that together with my tape. I agree with you, Tom Brown. It really bothers me. At first I thought it was really cool to get stuff with like nice packaging, like for unboxing, but it made me sick when I started putting together computers for people and I get so much trash. So I'm really happy with companies like Sapphire that sends you a graphics card box that's like 99% recyclable. It's just cardboard, it's not really fancy looking, but... And so that's what I also do for the Mini. I'd want to go to an environmentally friendly foam. I just don't know how to do that and be able to ship a full system, which weighs 10 pounds. So I gotta figure that out. But my cardboard's all recyclable. I try to recycle everything in the office too. I throw a big pile down there and I sort it all out and recycle as much as I possibly can. I am very excited for when my city eventually gets better recycling options, so I can recycle more things. I actually would really like to, for the next computer case that I'm making, because it's going to be really, really high end, to like do a bamboo crate or something like that. And do like a vegetable cardboard, like foam insert to go over it. I have to look into actually getting that formed because it's pretty expensive to get that done, and this is very low volume. But I don't. I do want to look into it at some point. I think that's the way to go. Maybe I can have like a non-scratching wood shaving type thing. What's that stuff called they used way back in the old days where you'd open a crate and there was that long stringy pulpy stuff? That would be kind of nice to put it in. Tyler, what box are you talking about, man? Well, one thing I do know is that this power supply is never coming out again. I say that, but watch it fall right out as soon as I put it on camera and turn around behind me. That's probably what's going to happen. Let's be realistic here. I also want to make sure I get this the right way. You would think it's going to be this way with the fan, right? That's the way I want to put it, but... And that will work, so that makes me happy. I'm going to be removing the stickers. Before testing it even, I'm just going to assume that my Silverstone power supply works. Never do that. Always test your power supply before you make modifications. Hope you guys turned off your audio for that. I'll keep the cereal on in case I need to chat with somebody about it, but we are good other than that, and I am going to begin the delicate process of lining this up and sticking it to my bracket. And it's nice and hot, so it's going to make great contact. All right, in about 10 minutes, I'll be good to go right there. Something also about the power supply, I wouldn't use tape like this if, again, I didn't know the exact situation what this computer was going to be used in, but it's being hand picked up and it's going to be driven to QuakeCon and it's going to be set up there by people I trust and it's going to be picked up and put in a guy's car and driven back someplace else. So it's not really a big concern to me, and if it does pop out, well, it'll wreck everything like a big giant wrecking ball, but then they can always just stick it right back in. It'll be ready for a new hardware upgrade at this point. I think the description for QuakeCon, Tom Brown, is like 3 days of peace, love, and rockets. But it's a really big LAN party. It was used to be the biggest LAN party in the world. And a lot of people got together and they played Quake. Now it's a little bit more corporate, but I think that's a good thing because it's keeping it alive in an era where we don't really need to get together to play Quake. So, and it's going to be better too. A lot of people from the community, like Modders Inc., have stepped up and they run the events now. And they make sure that everything is good, like the case mod contest. They put a lot of work into it, a lot of energy, because it was really disappointing before. I know I stopped going because of it, but it's really turned around now. So I really like to go again if I can get some time to do it. Tom Brown, it's kind of like E3. It's like a really mini E3 because it mostly focuses on Bethesda, of course, and id Software, their games. I don't think you'll find any games outside of that company, but Bethesda is a big company now. Isn't like Blizzard part of? No, they're part of Activision. I don't know where Bethesda fits in with Activision, but there's more games than just, of course, id Software stuff. And there's hardware. There's a Ventrilo hosts a humongous raffle. Like they give away like $25,000 plus, and like awesome sports cars like Shelby Cobras that are really done up, or Ford Raptors that are really done up, that kind of stuff. And used to be big prizes for the Quake competition. There was a Quake that's where Fatality, by the way, got his name started, QuakeCon. So he used to be there. I actually got to meet him and it was really awesome. That's actually a pretty relevant story for right now. So I admit, I forget what year this was, but this is going back a ways. And my buddy and I, Dean, he would come down with me to PDX LAN, which is an awesome LAN event. And one year there was a lot of Fatality stuff all over the walls and stuff like that. And the way he was marketed, he kind of comes off a little bit, I don't know, cocky. There's a word that's used a lot on the internet. I don't want to use it, but he kind of was the brunt of a lot of jokes of other gamers. And there was this one interview video that kind of got memed back before memeing was a big thing, where he was talking about his synapses firing when he's like winning games and stuff like that. But so I admit that I wasn't super polite with my other friend when talking about Fatality. So anyway, I go to QuakeCon one year, and I don't know what year this was. I have one person in the chat that I think went that year too, but it was several years back. And I got the VIP badge access because I was with Sapphire and I built a big system for them. and we went to they have this bar type setup where you can go for the final presentations and stuff, but that's where all the developers and special guests and stuff for QuakeCon are. So I got to go in. That was really cool. And then I bumped into him, Jonathan Windle, and we sat down at the bar, and he was like, I mean, seriously, the nicest guy I think I've ever met in my life. Really humble, soft-spoken, funny, wanted to listen to me and what I had to say about things, you know, it would engage me in conversation. And we talked for like quite a while, but I mean, just a great guy. And I learned a really important lesson that day, and that was, you know, never judge somebody by how they look or come off, especially on like TV or the internet or in ads and stuff like that, because they're real people too. I mean, it really just humbled me big time. So I'm really grateful to Jonathan Windle for being a great guy and making me kind of rethink how I was living my life. So that's my long-winded fatality story. But really, really, really cool guy. So, and I've met some other celebrities that were also really cool as well, but I've also met some that weren't really cool. So again, don't judge a book by its cover, I suppose. So we had the power supply in, and it's not gone flop when I was talking. That's cool. So I can start work on the wiring. And I guess we'll start with the hardest one first. This guy, this bad boy, 24 pin. We'll pop there and at first, but I might not need to unplug it in a minute. And if I did my job right, which I'm sure I didn't do, I want that to look nice at the bottom. I want my build to look like Rod Rosenberg's beautiful builds. Well, first I gotta determine which direction this is gonna go. And it's not gonna go that way. So this has to flip out this way. So I gotta use, I'm gonna move, oh, this is gonna be hard. I'm gonna move one of these combs, I should have ordered more, all the way down. Which is gonna be, I can't do that because it flips around. That's not a possibility. Okay, that's gonna look good. So I will drop this in like this. Don't need to latch it or anything, but I'm pressing down pretty hard so our tape is doing its job. Move this last little comb up a little bit. Come on, baby. It's gonna be a stretch, but I know you can do it. Okay, we gotta move this up some more. Move this one back. Can you even see me? I don't know if you can even see me, but I'll have to adjust the video later. I might be like popping up above the camera lens. I also met Todd Hollinshead in the elevator. My wife and I were going down, and he's like the only other person. He opens the door, he gets in the elevator, and I don't usually get starstruck, but I was really into level design for years. That's what I wanted to do, and all throughout high school, you know, instead of playing video games and all that, I was designing levels and stuff like that. So he's like my hero. And so he's just sitting there, and then I'm just kind of like, just in awe, and he's like, hi. He's like, I'm Todd. I'm like, I know who you are. And he shook my hand, and then we had the awkward silence all the way down. Then he left, and I was like, bye. Bye, man. Yes, Ton Howard. Okay. And we can leave in about 15 minutes, Robin. All right, I got a little itty bitty cute cable for my CPU. Oh, good, they labeled it power supply. I'm like, these are gonna swap over, so I kind of got to get this plugged in the right way. Otherwise, we're gonna see magic blue smoke. But luckily, it was labeled. And I will comb that later. I got little plastic combs for it. I don't need to get this perfect right now. I just need to get it like, so I know it's gonna work. Then I can spend time with my plastic clip-on combs and make sure everything is gonna look good. Oh, these are challenging though. Looks fine. All right, now for the GPU cables. I actually wanted this to go behind the 24-pin cable and up the side, but right this second, to get the lid on it to see if it's going to fit first before I do some more cuts next time we join up. I'm going to stick them right there. And these are 632. Hopefully I have some nuts that aren't lock nuts. Two, three, four. These are kind of cool. These are like little 632 standoffs, 1/4 inch. I'm just going to use them for now because my lock washers would take too long to screw on. Oh, but these aren't 632, are they? They're M4. Well then. Why did I do that? That just don't make no sense. I was young and naive. Gilmaya asks, Josh, what do you think is the biggest competitor of the S4 Mini in the small form factor market? I don't know the answer to that. I don't really look at the competition that's doing something unique, even if it's taking a sale away. Like, for example, the Dan case. Obviously, people that buy Dan cases, some of them buy mini cases too. So he'd be my biggest competitor, but I don't really look at it that way because that's not what I care about for the business side of things. So financially speaking, I guess he would be the biggest competition. But like I sell my product on the same website as his product is sold because we're trying to give out the best small form factor options. So I would consider competition people that literally are cloning the Mini. And I'm not going to name them in the live stream. Yeah, I don't know why. This is a 700 watt platinum Silverstone. It's a nice power supply. This is what I use for ATX computer cases when I build them. We don't really need it, but then again, look at this thing. Who knows what Sapphire has done if we enable the use of this second 8-pin. But the idea was that we have a big power supply in here now, so whatever we stick in it, it's just gonna work. That's what Ed wanted to do. There was a 450 watt power supply that was in this before, and it worked, but it only had one cable plug-in modular power pin, so I actually modded another in. There's like a video of me taking the power supply apart and going to the back side and soldering on another MiniFit Junior or MegaFit Junior plug. Pretty funny, actually. You had to have been there. I gotta straighten that out with the angle of my cables. Okay. Now, I wanted to bolt this down. I probably would have to get a nut driver to do that, because this one's not big enough. I'm gonna get the nut driver, guys, because I really want to see if it's gonna clear, and then we can wrap things up. So I will be right back. Sorry that took so long. The idea behind this was it was like an adjustable standoff because I have these thick cables. So it has to be bolted down, obviously, but eventually you'll clamp the cables behind the board once I get it all tightened up. And this gives me the room to adjust where the board's going to lie. Really all we want is for the side panel to clear the RAM. And of course the fan, which we're gonna notch, and we've already seen that that's gonna work as soon as we notch this out, which will be on the next time I stream, because we have to leave soon. Now I want to see if this monstrosity is going to fit and be bolted down, or if I'm going to have to do some fancy pants modding for next time. It's not going to go in with this though, which shows that everything's lining up. Oh my goodness. Not everything's tightened down or anything like that, so if it's even looking remotely stable, which it actually is, we're in good shape. So I'm gonna come around, I'm gonna plug these in for right now. See how much slack we need to... I messed this up big time, didn't I? How did that even happen? How did I make such a grievous error? I had a routing plan, but I was wrong no matter what I did. Maybe that's what I did. I was thinking it's gonna be something like that. But I wish I had more time. Maybe I have time to get them done before QuakeCon. So I'll have to clean that up later. But I have to fix the power supply because I twisted it out when I was putting the cables in. But the important thing that I want to see, because it's the deal breaker, right, is if it's going to fall over this way. Now, the center of gravity is supposed to run right up the middle, right here, right where this edge is. I have this extra tip over plate here just in case. But in the modeling program, it looked like it was right here. We have a lot of weight from the bulletproof glass and from the power supply to offset the video card. But this system was never designed for a video card this big and massive before. So if I push it forward, okay, if I push it forward, we want it to come back, and that's what's happening. It's not gonna go backwards at all, but it will go forwards if I give it some push. So I'm not too worried about this, to be honest. I've made worse. So next time I stream it, it will be about making this nice and working nice. And getting the camera far enough back to where you actually can see it. Man, I missed this thing, and it actually does look really cool. It's a mess right now, it's not finished, but... The balance is actually not bad either in terms of the sculpture. The card actually juts up and goes up enough to where it offsets the height of the build, which you can't see. I'll put it back here. Oh, this thing weighs so much! The purple heart is so heavy. Did I put it on something? There, that will motivate me to work on it in a minute. But I appreciate you guys watching. I said that we were going to stream for an hour. I'm sorry I talked so long that I didn't get a lot done. But next stream, I will hopefully be the last one for this build. It'll be nice and done. I'm going to notch this fan out. I'm going to dye the cable black. I need to adjust the power supply a little bit. And of course, braid those cables and make it all nice. Who knows, maybe I won't even stream all this because it's just really long, boring detail stuff, but maybe I'll have a better content for the next stream. But I will show you it at least in its finished glory. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you guys soon, like tomorrow soon. So peace, guys. There is one thing I do want to say. I want to say special thank you to Tyler Fredrickson for his super chat, Michael Sniffen Dan Man 1012, and Wild Wes. I really appreciate you guys supporting my channel and my streams with the super chat. That is like Red Bull. It's wings. Peace.